Welcome to Healing from the Inside Out, where transformation begins from within. Host Danielle Marie White is here to guide you on a journey of awakening, healing, and authentic living. Each episode will explore the wisdom, tools, and stories that help us reconnect with our souls, step into our power, and live from our hearts. So now, please welcome the host of Healing from the Inside Out, Danielle Marie White.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so grateful that you're here with us today. And today's message is all about the voice, the blessing before it speaks through the body. And before we dive in, I would like to invite anyone who resonates or feel called to call in to the studio, to be able to share your stories, your experiences, your knowledge, your wisdom, or to seek insight. We'll be sharing tools and wisdom throughout this series, and I hope that you feel the love that can be poured out globally. So this morning, I would like to open with a whisper, and I would like to invite you, if you're not driving and you're safe, to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths to center yourself and your body, to become present in the moment, to just let go of everything and give to yourself. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back with us. So I'm going to open with a little blessing that I've written. Welcome, beloved. Today we enter softly through the western gate of the heart. This is the voice that blesses before it speaks. Let your path and your breath be a bell. Let your body be the guide. You are the temple, and you are the traveler. This episode is an offering. May it return you to yourself. And as we breathe and we connect, I'd like to light a candle in the sacred space. So with this candle, my intention to light it for you all is to allow our bodies to speak to us, to allow our intentions. The voice is actually the tool for the body. It was designed for us to be able to express verbally. However, the body is immaculate. The body speaks way faster than our actual speech. And the body speaks through the emotional body, the physical body, the mental body. The emotional body, that has a lot of power for us, and so does the mental. And we gain strengths in certain bodies in certain areas, and that is how we continue to lead our lives, our experiences, the habits that we have, that we create, the neurological memories, the roadways. If you think of it like muscle mind connection, where you do something so often that it becomes habit or second nature. You can start to do things without even thinking about them. And for example, if you think about when you're driving, sometimes you're very present, and sometimes we are driving, but we may forget where we are going. We may get into a meditative state. We're just not focused on where we're going, we're just doing it. And in those moments, our subconscious is taken over for us. We've went on autopilot, and the autopilot can automatically run these programs for us. The problem lies in, is this really the program I want to be running for me? Is this really the healthiest program to be running for me? Or is it something that's developed from a lower, I want to say vibration, belief, a learned habit, especially when it comes to being accepted by others? That is probably one of the biggest that I've ever seen, between being accepted by family, especially the closest set to us, because we're trying to have our needs met. And if that person is unable, then we are learning ways in which to have our needs met, whether they are healthy or unhealthy. So as we process through today and we dive deeper into things, let's try to stay present in the moment instead of on autopilot. Let's try to connect to our bodies and allow them to speak. Let's try to step out of the mind and move our focus and attention to the heart and anywhere else in the body that there is a tightness, there is a yearning, a wish. And we will take our focus, we will go through the body, and we will find some of these places. And at any time, I invite you all to call in that you feel called. So let's ring the breath like a bell. We have already lit our candle. So I have planted in water. I am growing. I hope you guys can see this okay. These are lotus flowers. And they are growing beautifully. I'll take one out so you can see how they are growing out of the seeds. Here's a good one. Let's get him unwound. And there's the seed it comes from. This seed is just like the seeds that we plant. Are we going to have the environment that we need to grow and thrive? Are we going to pay attention to ourselves, to our seeds, to our sprouts? Let's open our seeds. Let's allow them to sprout. Let's clear up some of the things that are holding us in the murkiness. And before we start, I would like to talk about the lotus flower. Lotus flowers bloom. Beautiful, gorgeous, radiant flowers. But it is through the dark, muddy, murky waters that it has to climb through to find the light. If we can take that as a learning lesson in ourselves, we also can blossom beautifully. And we can find that light. We can open and expand. We can align with our true wishes, with our essence. So as we begin today, I would like us to close our eyes, if it's safe, and take a few deep breaths. And as we do, say out loud or to yourself, words out loud are the strongest. My breath is a bell. My voice is a blessing. My breath is a bell. My voice is a blessing. My breath is a bell. My voice is a blessing. My breath is a bell. My voice is a blessing. And as we breathe those words into ourselves, allow that energy, that frequency to radiate your whole body, to dance in between the cells, in between the particles. Allow it to ignite that light. It is about taking time and being in the body. It is about releasing performance. It is about releasing the need to fulfill someone else's wants, needs, or desires, and allowing us to be who we are in each moment. Not push to respond or react, but being able to hold the space, hold our own spaces, our own light. Being able to step through those uncomfortable moments, just being. I'd like to share a story with you. And as I clear the energy out of my throat, I'm going to share a story that is about a time when I held the space, when it was completely uncomfortable. But it's what I needed to do to feel into my body, to not just react, but to actually listen to myself versus what someone else's energy was telling me that they wanted or they thought they needed in the moment. And as we step away for just a few moments with our wonderful sponsors, we'll be back in just a couple minutes. And you are here with me, your host, Danielle Marie White, on Healing from the Inside Out. You can also find me at HelloFutureHealing.com. When we return, we will dive into this story. Thank you.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
And welcome back. I'm Danielle Murray, your host, and we are going to dive into a story. And this story is an experience of mine, and it is listening to the voice of the body. And as I share this story, I would like you to feel into yourself and see if anything resonates for you, if anything starts to rise for you. Is something being reflected where we can reflect and gain more wisdom? So these can include times where holding silence until the moment was right, letting the body guide us out of a crisis, or experiencing sacred timing in speech. A lot of times, if we hold space and don't just feel that space due to any reason, whether it's trying to defend, allow, if we can just hold that space for the person who is expressing, or for ourselves, or both, it can have the biggest impact. Then we can connect internally, which then can bless what is going on around us. What is the situation? What is the crisis? What is the emotion or the thought that is flaring up, that we're really trying to get to the root of something, but we may not know how? So I'm going to share about my healing journey. And it's quite interesting. I was on my own at a very early age. I was on my own at 16. And I became very independent. I had a hard time trusting people. And that was through experiences in my life where I wasn't accepted. I wasn't accepted for many reasons. Whether it was I was a young teen mom, I didn't have money, I was really poor at that time. Different struggles in life, which were really showing me things. And being abandoned by my family multiple times, that really made me not trust. The family unit is supposed to be the ones that will always be there no matter what, who will love you unconditionally, who are supposed to be your anchors. But as we all know, we all have our own inner journey. Well, as I grew, and being a single mother of my two beautiful, wonderful daughters, I relied on myself. I found it very hard to stop looking for red flags, to stop protecting myself and pushing others away. Allowing people to see me beyond all the masks, all the armor I had created in order to keep myself safe, which later became things that were actually hurting me. So as I dive into this story, when I got married again, I had to learn to trust. And as the honeymoon phase ends and you come together, you move in together, you're sharing all the intimate parts of yourself, all the vulnerable parts of yourself through your daily lives. Well, those moments brought up a lot of baggage I was carrying, a lot of invisible baggage I was carrying. And it was a lot of heavy baggage I was carrying. And one thing, it wasn't just one little box. It was a whole lot of boxes. And some boxes were like those Christmas presents where you play practical jokes on people and you take a small box and you wrap it and you put it in another box and you wrap it and you put it in another box and you wrap it. Continuing this process until you have all of these boxes going into this center box. And that is something that I think about, pulling the layers back, opening those layers, those petals, kind of like peeling an onion. Stepping into something slowly and not going to the root because we want to make sure we're safe. We want to make sure that we are understood, that we are heard, that we can be validated, that we can actually go deep with our feelings and allow ourselves to be completely authentic. And can that person hold that space? Can they allow us without telling us how we should be doing something, or that we're doing something not the way that they would do it, even if it's not saying, oh, you're wrong, you should do it this way. But realizing that everyone has their own path. And how boring would it be if we were all the same? If we were all on the same path, if we all processed the same, we wouldn't need to even probably speak. We wouldn't learn, we wouldn't grow. But in all those protective layers, we create this safe place for ourselves. And we may even deem everything out of this place, everything outside of it, as not connecting, as not feeling like we belong, even scary, even dark. Whether friendships, work, being overwhelmed by all the stimulation of our society. Those are all signs that we need to return inner, to give to ourselves, to love ourselves. So as I step into this story, I had a lot of baggage, especially around trust. Not only trust, but abandonment. And this story repeated itself in my life. It was a continuous cycle in my life. And I believe that that is the wrestling with God, the wrestling with pieces or parts that are either are us and we're denying and we're putting on masks, or the parts that don't feel safe to be seen. So, in my experience, my deepest, hardest one for me was the abandonment, the betrayal, whether it was from family members, loved ones, relationships. And a lot of things made me think that I wasn't worthy, that there must be something wrong with me. Why does this keep happening to me? I couldn't see that this was happening for me. And that how many times in my life did I accept people, places, things that weren't aligned, that I knew were not the best for me, that my body reacted, but I didn't listen. That I knew in my heart, I should not go out with this person. And I'm not speaking about my husband right now. This is my baggage from the past. That I should not be seeing this person. I should not be rushing in to fill a void or rushing into anything, especially a relationship, especially an early marriage for me. My daughters always told me, Mom, you are the happiest, healthiest, and the best version of yourself and to others when you are alone, when you are not in a relationship. And I heard them, but I didn't hear them. I didn't understand what they were telling me in their young age at that time. They were reflecting to me, but I couldn't see that. I felt the longing, the wishing, the hoping to share my life and my love with others. But what I didn't realize was I was sharing from a place of love that quickly turned into a codependency, a wanting to feel that person, wanting to help them not to feel pain or hurt. And I was self-sacrificing me and myself in those moments. And it wasn't until my current husband. It wasn't until my current husband that I actually understood. And it took walking through many trials and actually being able to have someone hold that space and hear me. And now it is time for another quick break. So I will actually share this story when we return. I thank you all. I love you. And I will be back in a couple short minutes. You're watching Healing from the Inside Out here on Bold Brave TV. Thank you.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Mike Zorich, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorich, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorich has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network.
Hello, and welcome back to Healing from the Inside Out. I'm your host, Danielle Marie White, and we were just about to dive in to a story with unpacking all of that baggage, the box inside the box, inside the box, inside the box. To me, that represented the cycles that became bigger and bigger and bigger each time that it was occurring. And because this cycle started in my childhood, it was so hard for me to be able to trace these things back, to even connect them. I could hear myself saying, I can't believe this happened again. I can't believe I trusted this person. All of those things. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger each time. More hurt compiled. And I started to push down more and more and more. I didn't want to feel that. And every time it was compounding the box inside the box inside the box. So that pain for me created a great deal of suffering in my life that I didn't even understand. I was carrying it in my body. My body was trying to tell me, but I couldn't understand. And one day, I had come home to some unexpected anxiety, emotions that were flared. But it was internally, I was feeling it. But externally and in my mind, I didn't even realize what was going on. And I had this habit that I would flare up. I would hold until I couldn't hold anymore. And then I would just send all this energy out in an unleashing, in a unloading. That's a better terminology. I was not thoughtful or careful with the energy I was sending out to others. I was just vomiting up this energy, and it was just flaring out. And we've all been in situations where we've had that on the receiving end, where we have felt someone's anger, someone's frustration. And in this moment, as I'm sharing my frustrations about what my husband did or did not do in those moments, and why I was so upset, and the repeating cycle of what was actually poking me, realizing that I had stuff underneath, but I was projecting all of it onto him. I was not taking responsibility for myself, but also I was taking too much responsibility for him. So, in order to take responsibility for myself, I really had to do the inner work. I really had to start sitting and processing these things. And thank God for my husband, because he may get upset, he may get angry, but he was always supportive. And it took a long time to realize that I needed to step away from his space so that I could just focus and feel my own without taking everything as my own. And not coming from a wounded place in the conversation, but coming from a responsible place in the conversation, from really expressing what I was feeling, what I was hearing or sensing, or what my mind was thinking. And as we progress through these series, we are going to actually dive through some of those particular examples. And I'm going to actually open my journals and share with you guys, because I had a lot of healing to do. And if even one person can gain some type of insight that helps them, it is worth sharing the things that I was deeply embarrassed, ashamed of, hurt, fearful of in those moments. It's in actually sharing those things that I have realized other people are able to be their own healer, to be able to dig into those things. And sometimes we just need someone who can be there, to be the sounding board, to not interject their own stories, but to actually hear someone, to ask questions that can help us to find out, is this for me? Is this not for me? Is there something really there that resonates that, oh, I need to go deeper here? Maybe I've been playing on the surface way too long because it was so hard to go to those depths. But going to these depths is where the true healing comes in, the true freedom. By walking through those fires, we are purified. We can make those things become sacred. And those sacredness become keys, not for just ourselves, but for others. So as we begin to close today, I want to do a blessing for our voices. And I would like us, I'm going to uncross my legs. That way, my energy is completely open. And as we open the voice, I invite you to hum, to sing, to speak. And as we start, I'm going to just hum to open and to merge the heart channel with throat channel that comes out. Because when we close off our heart, our voice wants to come from the mind, and the mind is not always in the healthiest form. Those voices that speak to us, we need to be really discerning and start investigating where they're coming from. So as we connect the heart with the throat, I'm just going to close my eyes and begin to hum until I feel it's cleared, and I invite you to do the same. So let's begin. And as I hummed, I could feel it going lower and lower into the heart space. And I felt the last opening radiate through the heart space. So I know that I am now open and clear. So now I want to invite you to speak. I am the temple and the traveler. My voice begins in my breath. I am the temple and the traveler. My voice begins in my breath. I am the temple and the traveler. My voice begins in my breath. And I am feeling really called to take some of the lotus flower water and to anoint my chest and my throat with it as a blessing, as a connection to all creation, to the energy that flows through the light, through the layers, through the depths. And now I am called to invite you to place one hand on your throat and one hand on your womb. Connect inside of yourself. Where is our body trying to speak to us today? Where do we feel truth right now? What part of our body speaks before our mouth does? And I will share with you, the part of my body that is speaking for me right now is actually here in my solar plexus. And I feel a slight tightness towards my left side of it. But as I'm connecting and breathing into this space, I'm allowing it to open and allowing my body, inviting my body to share with me what is being held. And in this space right now, I feel a flame emerging. I feel it burning, the flames rising through my throat as I'm sitting here holding and allowing the sacred connection through the heart space. And in the allowing and the breath, may the blessings rise through the heart and through the speech. And as we close today, I would like to share with you the return is sacred. and I offer a closing blessing. I rise through the western gate of my heart. My voice blesses before it speaks. My heart walks before my feet. I am the temple and the traveler, and I trust, and so it is. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that something you heard today touched your heart or opened a little door. I invite you to schedule a free 30-minute consultation with me at HelloFutureHealing.com. And we are live every week, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, here on Bold Brave TV. I thank you and I welcome you. I love and send beautiful blessings to you all. May you have an absolutely beautiful day of peace, rest, love, and joy. Thank you for connecting, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.
This has been Healing from the Inside Out with your host, Danielle Marie White. Thank you for being here to share, grow, heal, love, and inspire, and be part of the miracle. Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network, powered by B2 Studios.